It used to come out of the church or the stories we told our kids was this sense of, oh, you know what? Character matters. Honesty matters.
Honesty?
What I just read was a direct quote. Those are not my words. They belong to President Barack Obama.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Schumer should just listen to his BFF Obama.
I mean, some people might say it feels premature declaring peace for the whole Middle East. 3,000 years of peace.
Premature? Why? You want more people to be killed? What do you want, another 400,000 people to be killed?
Obama is brooding over President Trump's massive success, which makes his presidency look pathetic and small and weak, just like the man that he is. And now you can see how he is out trying to salvage some of that image, doing podcast interviews with this bro over here. And what's so interesting about this is there's a little bit of a clip here. Obama posted this, but you'll notice that his body language and his posture changes pretty dramatically. Here is Obama seated with some boxed water and some books at his home, and he says that this dude came over to him. But watch how this body language changes as soon as the conversation shifts a little bit. See that right there? Very upset about it. Deep leg cross, basically, just to protect, what's left. And crossed up and just angry and furious. And we'll see what he's talking about that prompts that reaction from him. But here is what he posted originally. He said, more than a decade ago, I sat down with Mark Maron, comic actor, feral cat wrangler, writer, host of WTF podcast, Sure It's Great, in his garage to tape something new called a podcast. You're so innovative, Obama. This time, he came to me to record his latest episode. We talked about the power of conviction, decency in an age of division, and the true story of America that he knows nothing about. I'll miss Mark's voice, but I hope his legacy of deep conversation and connection will continue. Is this like his last show or something? I don't know. But all right, so here's how it sounded when he was just, ripping off with the platitudes.
So much of our culture now, so much of what we teach our kids is geared around buying stuff and having stuff and
it's true. That is true.
Posting it on Instagram and then
it's winning to some.
Winning is now defined solely by material goods, how much you got, and to some degree fame. That's become another currency, right?
Right.
And I do think part of what our conversation needs to be more about, it used to come out of the church or the stories we told our kids was this sense of, oh, you know what? Character matters. Honesty matters.
Honesty? Bro, you were in the Oval Office with your entire cabal of criminal hacks trying to create a fake narrative to destroy your political opponent's first term of his presidency, if not to execute a coup, to seize control, to distinguish your White House from Trump's White House as one being legitimate and the other being a tool of the Russians. That's what you did. It was all fake, and you used Hillary Clinton's propaganda to do it. All right, so he's going to do his little Obama voice. He's like, I know how to say this. Here is the more important clip. So you saw his body language. Now watch how the conversation shifts over here when he gets asked about President Trump. Here we go.
I mean, what was unusual for me was obviously a lot of what I represented.
Yeah.
A lot of what Michelle and I had tried to project, the values, our thinking about America. My successor seemed to represent the opposite.
Right.
Not seemed, did.
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot of anger, a lot of sadness, some fear among a big chunk of the country. And
yeah, you sound a little bit nervous there too, Barry, because they're coming after all of the people who are responsible for the abuse of office, the exploitation of the law, the weaponization of the institutions of the government to attack political opponents, and you were right in the middle of it. You were the hub around all the spokes. And now Comey is under scrutiny, Bolton's coming next, and the list will just continue on and on. And so Obama is looking quite nervous out there. But some people are trying a little bit of a different tact over here. Hillary Clinton was also out talking about this, and she's pretty much praising President Trump. She's like, don't indict me, please. You're doing a great job. We love you. This is Hillary Clinton speaking. And they did this little thing. It was pretty pathetic, actually. Some people were commenting on the numbers. They brought out, you'll see this just like little screenshot here. They brought this out. Hillary and Condi were to come together, and they have this big wraparound TV thing with this big digital floor, like a multi-million-dollar set, all screened out and dynamic and all the things. And they like a couple hundred live viewers watching their show. It's like nobody cares what these people have to say. It's all just manufactured and engineered conversations. And so it was really interesting to see that. But here is this short clip, a little bit of Hillary. She's showing some serious favor to Trump.
A really significant first step. And I really commend President Trump and his administration, as well as Arab leaders leaders in the region for making the commitment to the 20-point plan and seeing a path forward for what's often called the day after. Most importantly, the conflict hopefully will end with the ceasefire. The hostages will be returned.
And they have been returned. Shout out to President Trump. So Hillary taking a different tact, and Ted Cruz is calling her out. He says, "Wow, well done," says Ted. Bill and Hillary and their excellent adventures with Lewinsky are seemingly the only Dems willing to recognize President Trump's historic achievement here. The rest of them like Obama. They're rejecting us. Yeah, we are. Every other Dem is giving a very public demonstration of bitterness and classlessness like Obama. Yeah, and the rest of them, they just can't take it because they hate success. They want the destruction of really anything that is opposite of them being in total control and unveiling their communist manifesto across our faces. We're not down for it. But even Mike Johnson was out. He posted this one yesterday. He's coming after Obama, and he says, as Obama said in 2013, here's Mike Johnson explaining this from the halls of Congress.
Before Democrats recklessly shut down the government, Republicans and Democrats were engaged in responsible, open, bipartisan negotiations on the appropriations process. Republicans are eager to return to the actual negotiating table, to finish out full-year appropriations and do work on all the other matters before us, but we won't negotiate in smoke-filled back rooms, and we won't negotiate as hostages. Democrats in the Senate have been around a long time, and they'll remember this important plea, and I'll leave you with this thought. Listen closely to what I say here. Quote, there's only one way out of this reckless and damaging shutdown. Pass a budget that funds our government with no partisan strings attached. The American people don't get to demand ransom in exchange for doing their job. Neither does Congress. They don't get to hold our democracy or our economy hostage over a settled law. That's not how our democracy is supposed to work. That's why I won't pay a ransom in exchange for reopening the government. I'll always work with anyone of either party on ways to grow this economy, create new jobs, and get our fiscal house in order for the long haul, but not under the shadow of these threats, unquote. What I just read was a direct quote. Those are not my words. They belong to President Barack Obama.
Oh, isn't that interesting? Schumer should just listen to his BFF Obama. Now, here was the president yesterday. Hillary's recognizing this. Obama's very sad. They really would have preferred World War III or something. But here is the Trump speech from the Knesset yesterday saying, I thought they said I was going to commit World War III or World War IV or World War V. We'd all be dead from nuclear annihilation. How's that working out for them?
Good to say it. But when you settle 8 wars in 8 months, that means you don't like war. Everyone thought I was going to be brutal. In fact, I remember Hillary Clinton during a debate, she said, look at him. He's going to go into war with everybody. And actually, she said, he's got a personality that's all about war. No, and my personality actually is all about stopping wars. And it seems to work.
It does work.
But it also means there's name change and our attitude that we're not going to go into a war. But if we do, we're going to win that war like nobody has ever won a war before. We will not be politically correct, but we're not going to be there. And I think, as you mentioned...
It's called war, and the president was responding to some questions about this on Air Force One on the way back yesterday. People saying, well, what comes next? Is this peace going to hold? What's the next? Everybody freaking out about that. It's like, can you just chill out for 2 seconds? The president is here, okay? He's going to make sure everybody who's at the table behaves themselves. I said, put your napkin on your lap. Yes, Mr. President, I will do that. And they do it. Here's
I mean, some people might say it feels premature declaring peace for the whole Middle East. 3,000 years of peace.
Premature, why? You want more people to be killed? What do you want, another 400,000 people to be killed?
Yes, some of them do.
But in terms of the risks in Gaza, we're already seeing...
Risk. So you mean let them fight on for another couple of years and let some more buildings fall down on top of people and keep it going? No, we did it the right way. We did it. I think our timing was perfect, actually.
And in terms of those,
you don't really mean that. You mean you want them to fight on, right?
I'm just asking about the phase 2 of the negotiations and how confident you are that those can get underway.
We have a lot of power. That was a power room. Those people, those are the richest countries. I think now with tariffs, I think we're the richest country in the world, actually. The United States, we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. But those are, really seriously rich countries, and they can handle it.
Yeah, and he almost said that they're richer than us because all that oil money, baby. He's like, they're sitting on trillions of dollars liquid, and we're just here bankrupt, basically. Our whole country is sitting in trillions of dollars in debt. Wonder who owns all that debt. But that's the president. A lot of people out there. We even saw that yesterday in the live updates, and a little bit of bickering back and forth. And I'm not saying you keep your head in the sand, but you want to get this thing as firmed up as possible. possible. And Trump is going to hold attention and hold the line on that. Meanwhile, Obama is going to be sitting there pouting because nobody likes him anymore. And his presidential building is ugly as hell. And he knows it. He's like, ugh, he wishes he could change everything. But he can't. He could have been an actual president rather than a Democrat communist hack, but he didn't do that. He blew his opportunity. Now he's seeing Trump come in and reshape the entire American future in a way that he never could because he was too busy focused on his own future rather than the country's. And you can just see it right there in those cross legs. Hard to miss it. Obama is bitter.